just got these new jeans from Madewell for my birthday. It's a little gift to myself. I really like them. Okay. It also kind of looks like the fly is down a little bit. They're buttons, so my fly is not down. Hi guys. Welcome back to Mel KB Vlogs. I don't know if you just heard that car. Also, the wind is very loud today. Can't do anything about it, sorry. Also, I'm very hyper, as you can see, and it is because of this brown sugar oat milk espresso drink from Starbucks, and it's freaking good. So we're gonna be talking about my transition from college into the real world as an actor. So really how I went from a student to becoming a professional actor. This was actually also a requested video, and I feel like it's like funny. When I read it, I was like, huh, like people are actually interested in, you know, knowing about that from me. But also when I think about it, back then I would have loved to watch a video like this. So hopefully this is helpful to you guys. I also want to say that I feel like, sorry about the wind, oh my god. I feel like I am a pretty good example for normal transition from a BFA program into the real world, mainly because my program specifically didn't really have the we weren't very well integrated into the real world. Like, for example, my college roommates all went to college in New Jersey, so they were very used to coming into the city to auditioning. They kind of had like they got to dip their toes into the water and like slowly transition. But for my school and, you know, all of my classmates, it was like we were in South Carolina at school, and then just we were thrust into the real world with really no experience or no idea what it was like. So if that's where you're coming from, you're watching the right video. Yeah, we didn't really have the privilege that a lot of other BFA programs have, and I'm just being completely honest with that. Yeah, so that's the tea right off the bat, you guys. This is so good. I went to Coastal Carolina in Myrtle Beach. So it was my senior year, and we did a showcase in New York City in, I think it was March of that year. This was 2016. So we all just had pieces to perform, and we went and performed this showcase. Nothing specifically came of the showcase for me or many of my classmates. Again, my school is very small. We really didn't have a lot of people show up. So in that week, it was my spring break from college. So I decided to just go on a bunch of auditions. And funnily enough, I had told my mom earlier that year, I was like, I want to book a cruise right when I graduate. That would be amazing. And that earlier December, I actually went and got my passport renewed just in case that happened. Kind of like I put it in the universe. So yeah, I was in New York auditioning. I went to a ton of auditions that week. Truly couldn't even tell you which ones. The only one I remember is my two friends who I know from Broadway Dance Center. They were like, oh Mel, we're going to a Carnival Cruise Line audition. Do you want to come with us? And I was like, yeah, that'd be great. So the three of us went, and it was, oh no, it wasn't my first cruise audition. I'd been in for other cruise lines before. We go to audition for Carnival Cruise Line, and basically I auditioned, and this never happens, truly never happens, but at the end of the day, I made it through all of the cuts, and there were 8 of us left. One of them was one of my friends, and they told us we booked the job. So that was wild to be able to like literally leave that day being like, oh my god, I booked a job. I didn't even have to endure that like stressful waiting period of being like, oh my god, I did really well at this audition, did I book it? Like, I found out that day. So for that being my first experience of like really booking a job, being paid to sing and dance, that was great, like ideal. It was awesome. So really all I had to wait for was what ship they were going to offer me and like when that would come. So they said it could come within 6 months. So yeah, I called my family after and I was like, I booked it, and they were like, what the heck? So that was pretty wild. And yeah, I was super excited about it, and really I was just waiting to see what the ship would be that I was going to be offered. So fast forward, I think probably 2 weeks later, I got the email offering me my ship, and it started 3 days after graduation, which was insane. I really wasn't expecting that at all, but it was perfect timing, like absolutely perfect timing. But what's really funny about this, I need a sip, is my first immediate thought was, this is wonderful. I'm in college. I booked a 7-month contract right out of college, being paid to do what I went to college for, being paid a lot of money as well. I think, I want to say I was paid $8.50 a week, which is awesome. And you know, they pay for your food, lodging, everything. So you are getting $850 a week to put in your pocket. So, you know, there I am about to graduate college, and you know, that's what's put in front of me. I immediately am like, this is wonderful. Why would I even second guess this, right? And then a lot of my professors all seemed to have a lot of different opinions on it. There were some who were elated and thought it was amazing and were really, really excited and thought it was wonderful. And then I had other professors who had a lot of opinions about it and kind of were like looking down at it, which then made me be like, well, is this not the right decision? I was really, really confused. And basically kind of what I'm gathering is a lot of my professors at school were a bit older. I would say they were all above 40 or even 45. And, you know, inherently from that fact, they have a very different viewpoint on a lot of things in the industry that have changed. So now the cruise ship industry is honestly amazing. You know, I've been in for a ton of cruise lines where I haven't gotten cast. I went in for a Norwegian cruise line, which I ended up working for as well a few years later. I went in for them 2 times, and on the 3rd time I finally got cast. I've been in for Royal Caribbean 20 times and I've never gotten cast. It's actually like a really hard job to get. You have to be talented to get it. But a lot of my professors really didn't know that it was a competitive job to get at this point, and they didn't know that it actually looks really great on your resume and it's a good thing to do. So they were kind of giving me shit for it in a way, making me feel really confused about this decision. So then I kind of went down like a hole of like, and I had to let Carnival know within 24 hours if I was accepting the job. So I was like freaking out, having like a full mental breakdown, like, is this not the right decision? Also, my professors were like, you need to move to New York right away, you need to get your career started. I'm like, well, isn't me doing a job getting my career started? It was very confusing. Anyway, I ended up talking to one of my extremely trusted mentors, Natalie, who you're gonna see her in my vlog next week. I'm gonna do a weekly vlog. But I've known her since I was 16 years old. I trust her with my life. She is an amazing professional in this business. She knows so much more than I ever will. So I called her, told her what was up, and she kind of helped me make that decision, and I decided to do it. And to this day, I am so freaking glad I did. It was incredible. I got to meet people from all over the world. I learned new styles of choreography that I hadn't been doing in college. It was very contemporary and like, I don't know, it was very edgy and like different. We were dancing in heels and, you know, like it was just not, you know, what I had been doing the past 4 years. That was great. We were singing all pop music, lots of harmonies, which I really didn't get the opportunity to do that much at school. My voice improved so much on that contract because there were only 8 of us in the cast, 4 girls total in my whole cast, so we each had our own harmony part to hold down. So that in itself was like another degree I got in doing that. It was just really great. And then along with that, I got to save all of that money. I think my one piece of advice for if you do book a long-term contract right after college, or even like the last summer before your senior year, something like that, but specifically cruise ships, really focus on how you want to save your money. So what I did was I actually gave myself a budget on the cruise ship because I really wanted to leave with the most amount of money possible so I could go into moving into New York comfortably. So what I did was I gave myself a certain amount of money that I would immediately put into my savings, and then I would put the rest into my checking, and that was for fun things like getting food out in ports, paying to go to resorts in the ports that we were at, paying for things aboard like alcohol and snacks and stuff and coffee. You know, so I let myself enjoy the contract. I had so much fun. I did excursions, you know, did all of that, but I didn't go crazy spending money. I made sure I was saving as much as I could. Yeah, I ended up saving a good amount. My estimate was like $12,000 that I saved, which pew, pew, pew. It was lit. If that is ever an option for you, definitely do it. It was wonderful. I'm really, really glad that that's how kind of things worked out for me. So then, the last few months of my contract, I was putting out feelers for friends, you know, if anybody was moving to New York, if anybody needed a sublet. And my friend, who I also knew from Broadway Dance Center, posted that she needed somebody to fill a room in her apartment. So I jumped on that and I was like, hey, me. And it was awesome. So I actually signed on to the lease with her to finish the lease off, and it was $900 a month. And yeah, it was great. I was, you know, rooming with another dancer, and eventually, I forget, oh yeah, and then we had like sublets in and out, you know, normal New York things, but I was able to move in with somebody that I knew, which was great. And it was pretty seamless. I think the good thing about me moving to New York is that, number one, I already had a good amount of contacts already in the city. So a lot of my classmates from Coastal were moving to the city, or like already moved there while I was on the ship. So I had people around there, people older than me from Coastal who were living there for a while. So I had like a good support system. And then I also did a program at Broadway Dance Center for the whole summer, the summer before my senior year. And that in itself gave me a slew of people that were like my friends, my dance people, you know, who were also like a community that I had in New York. And that's who I ended up rooming with, were two girls from that program actually. So my advice there would be, you know, leading up to your time in college and like leading up to you eventually moving to New York, make as many contacts as you can, whether that even be through, you know, social media like TikTok and YouTube and whatever, online classes at Broadway Dance Center and steps, you know, things like that. Just make contacts, try to get those people that you know in New York, and that'll just make you feel a lot more comfortable moving to the city, knowing like, okay, there's a lot of people that I know living here, so you don't feel so alone. Yeah, so that move was pretty pretty seamless. And then that's when, you know, I was like, all right, so what are people doing for jobs? And I figured out a lot of my friends babysat, so just through, you know, my contacts that I had, I was reaching out to people saying, do you have any babysitting families? And I ended up getting a few, and that worked out really well. And then I was able to babysit and audition and do the shebang. So it was pretty good. And then I still to this day think that if I didn't do my first cruise ship and save that money, my first audition season would have been a lot more chaotic. I think I would have been a lot more stressed. I don't think I would have done as well in my auditions because it's just my personality to be stressed about money and what I'm gonna do. So I didn't really have that mentality yet of like, I need a job to survive, because I had a really good cushion behind me. So I would say, of course, my audition season was stressful, but not as stressful as it could have been. And I really think if I, you know, didn't have that money, maybe I wouldn't have auditioned for the tour of a chorus line, or like maybe I would have been too busy with other day jobs to just keep me afloat, that I wouldn't have been able to get to the open call early enough to, you know, be seen and audition for the tour of a chorus line, which ended up being, you know, a contract that really, really changed my life. And it's like, you know, my number one thing, like that was a job that when I booked it, I was like, I made it. Like I have made 12-year-old Mel really, really proud. That was like that moment for me. And I think kind of everything I did leading up led me to that moment. So I would say choosing to go to school for musical theater, which then gave me the contacts that I needed, the support that I needed, choosing to do that cruise ship and save that money. And I did not listen to what my professors told me, or even a lot of my friends had judgments too. I just didn't listen to that. I made that decision for myself, and I still stand by it. And then, you know, going on to do audition season and doing a chorus line. I also want to interject that a lot of my professors, one of their things for trying to get me to not do the cruise ship was that a lot of people do go and do a cruise ship job, and then they see how wonderful it is that they're being paid to do what they love, and you know, they could do that forever, and it's just there. So they didn't want me to get stuck into that lifestyle, which I totally get, but also to the people who do that, that's not a bad thing. It's really not. But I didn't want that for myself. I wanted to like come to New York and experience that experience. So I made that decision for myself, like I'm doing this contract and then I'm going to New York. So when I came to New York, I was actually offered, it was like mid-audition season, you know, when you're like tired and you just want somebody to like validate your talent in some way, give you that contract. And I got an email from Carnival, and they offered me literally one of the best ships in the fleet with the best itinerary, like going to the most amazing islands, the best shows. And for a split second, I was like, that would be beautiful. And I was like, you know what? No. And I turned it down. And thank God I did, because if I didn't turn it down, I wouldn't have auditioned for a chorus line, and I wouldn't have lived my absolute dreams playing a lead role in a national and international tour. So I think kind of my moral of the story here is everybody's journey is completely different. Like, you don't have to do what I did. You can do what I did, whatever. But listen to your gut and don't let other people's opinions of what you're doing get to you too much. Really do your soul searching, know what you want, and stick to that. Trust me. Once you start letting other people get into your head, then you kind of start to go off your path a little bit. So stick to your gut. Everything will work out the way it's supposed to. Trust me. Even when it feels like it's not going to, it will. Yeah. So let me know if you have any questions. I hope this was interesting and helpful for you guys. I don't really know. But yeah, let me know. And also comment down below any other things you guys want me to talk about. I would love to help out, truly. I would have loved these videos when I was younger, so hit me up. Go get this coffee if you want. If you don't want to, don't. Have a great week. I'll see you guys next week. Oh, also, check back next week. I'm gonna do a really fun weekly vlog. So yeah, get ready. Okay, love you guys. Bye.